competitors, coaches, judges, and honored guests. Welcome to CaseIT 2021 Finals Presentation Time Slot C. My name is Siddharth, and I will be your timer today. At this time, I would kindly ask all judges and coaches to ensure your audio is muted. As a reminder, the CaseIT Organizing Committee is recording the presentations. However, in the case of technical difficulties, the recording may be cut off. So coaches, you are welcome to record on your own devices, so long as you do not share recording outside of your team. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you our judging panel. First, we have Duke Indersigmany, the Director of Positive Play at EA. Next, we have Diane Lapierre, the Chief Information Officer at Absolute Software and the Chapter Board President at CIO Association of Canada. Next, we have Peter Holoka, the Director of Educational Technology at West Point Grey Academy and the Chapter Vice President at CIO Association of Canada, Vancouver. Next, we have Brendan McCabe, the Senior Account Executive at Microsoft. And finally, we have Steve Penton, the Director of Consulting Services at CGI. It is also my pleasure to introduce to you the presentation facilitator, Peter Tingling, who is the Associate Dean for the undergraduate programs at the BD School of Business at SFU. We are excited for your presentation, but before we begin, we would like to remind you of the presentation guidelines. You will have 20 minutes to present your solution. At the conclusion of your presentation, judges will have 10 minutes to ask questions. And at the end of these periods, competitors and judges are not permitted to continue speaking, even if the time ends while they are mid-sentence. I will be using my own device to time the presentations and Q&A period. Competitors, you will be responsible for keeping track of your own time, and I will provide chat warnings at the 5, 3, 1 minute, and 30-second marks. Please note that competitors are not permitted to reveal their university, country, or city of origin during or after the presentation. Thank you and good luck. Competitors, you may begin to share screens and begin your presentation whenever you are ready. The timer will start when you first start speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. Very excited to be with you here today. May I just check that everyone is able to see my screen and also hear me clearly? Awesome. That's great. All right. The pandemic has hit hard for many of us, and sometimes it can be difficult to put on a happy face. What has helped many people in these times is staying connected with family, friends, and acquaintances through online games like FIFA, Madden, or my personal favorite, The Sims. What you see on these pictures is the diverse gaming community, and you also see the different emotions that gaming can evoke, from passion and excitement to competitiveness, fierceness, a sense of belonging, and happiness. But the gaming industry also seems to have its dark sides and seems to be facing a new final opponent, unhealthy play, being displayed in the form of cheating, bullying, and online hate. We're here today to help you actually create lasting positive play experiences, to turn around this negative trend, really put it to something positive, and engage in a diverse gaming community. I'm proudly presenting my team from Falcon Consulting today, which is consisting of Jonas, Jacob, Felix, and myself. And our strategy is really supposed to leverage technology and data, but also the player and stakeholder communities to create and sustain safe, balanced, and fair gaming experiences. In our strategy, which we call the Triple EA strategy, and I'll get to the name in a second, we first looked at identifying your issues. We found 3 main ones: online harms, unhealthy play, and cheating. It all really culminates in the final challenge to create an inclusive gameplay experience. Our strategy, the Triple EA strategy, is combined out of 3 pillars: employing AI and machine learning, educating on addiction through launching a dedicated EA Center of Healthy Play, and then really embracing everyone in the community through an interactive diversity portal and a marketing campaign. We do believe that our measures have tremendous impact, on the one side by reducing cheating and harm, but also mental health issues, and on the other side by celebrating and embracing the diverse community within and around EA. Before diving deep into our strategies, I'd like to pass it on to my colleague Jonas to take a look at your environment.
Thank you, Nina. In order to identify challenges and opportunities, we first need to analyze the situation that EA is facing. Let us begin by looking at the market environment. At the moment, the gaming industry is growing. The number of users by 2023 is expected to be 3 billion, and the video game market value worldwide is close to 160 billion US dollars already. Some of the main drivers definitely include technological trends, such as virtual reality, the mobile market, machine learning, and AI, and also content personalization and microtransitions. While technological trends are certainly important, we also have to look at the broader industry trends that we're currently facing. The COVID-19 pandemic has the world firmly in its hand, and while it has a heavy impact on the global economy, the video gaming industry is actually thriving. We believe this is a tremendous opportunity, but that you should also acknowledge the problems that come with it, such as increased mental health problems. Another trend that we've identified are new market opportunities due to shifting demographics. For example, more females and also people over the age of 50 actually now come into the gaming market and are more and more playing. There are also more ways of playing together, for example, through subscription-based models and through esports league. Leveraging these technologies will provide great opportunities in the future. However, this environment also doesn't come without challenges. First, we've identified that online harm through harassment, racism, and sexism really has a tremendous negative impact on the environment. But we believe that there's this opportunity to celebrate diversity and inclusivity, and thus also celebrate every individual in your community. The second challenge that we've identified is unhealthy play, and this mainly relates to this video gaming addicted patients. However, we also believe that there's an opportunity there to provide people at risk with assistance and create well-being through the force of video games, which can actually leverage well-being in the first place. The third challenge that we've identified is cheating. And while it is certainly pleasurable for some players to cheat, it just creates a destructive online environment. And we believe that this is the opportunity here to create a safe online environment in the first place. How will we turn these challenges into opportunities? I will now give it back to Nina, who will tell you the first step of our EEA strategy.
Thank you, Jonas. So, looking into the first pillar of our strategy, we look at employing AI. Firstly, to prevent online harm. How we want to do that is through the use of natural language processing tools to detect hateful messages before they're actually even posted. Secondly, we also again want to look at the root and provide early warnings for users that are suspicious and are likely to become abusers in the future. We suggest you to do that through a predictive analytics tool such as text analysis. How could this process look like? Well, for the natural language processing, let's look at a chat. And we see that this user might be engaging in harmful behavior. What the natural language processing tool does is send a message that prompts him to rethink and actually says, hey, do you really want to send this message? While obviously this is less harsh than a total ban, it's a way of nudging that is proven to be highly effective and encourages active ways of thinking. Through natural language processing and predictive analytics, you can also continuously track users and how they improve in their behavior. Second, taking a deeper look into natural language processing. How can this be implemented? We think that EA actually has full capabilities to develop a proprietary NLP program itself, but it can also really just get inspired by the open source programs that are out there. A specific one that we found extremely intuitive and helpful is Perspective API by Jigsaw, the Google incubator. I'm very happy to talk more about it during the Q&A section and to go deeper into the benefits that such tool would actually bring. Now, I'll pass it on to Jacob to go further with our AI strategy.
Yeah, thank you, Nina. When it comes to cheating, you can really break it down into two subtopics. The first one being in-game cheating. We recognize your efforts to develop a software to detect software used for cheating at the client's hardware itself. We believe that this is the right strategy and that you should follow this avenue. Crucial in this avenue is diligently monitoring and maintaining a database of recognized cheats so that you can always stay at the forefront of what the cheaters are doing and maybe even surpass them. In combination with the software approach, you also have to take harsh actions against offenders to act as an additional deterrent. The other part of cheating is in-game asset and account safety. We urge you to enable mandatory two-factor authentication in order for users to more securely protect their accounts, and furthermore, offer optional multi-factor authentication so they can even further protect their accounts. Secondly, we encourage you to harness the power of blockchain to create an EA marketplace that gives players transparency of ownership over assets, as well as the transaction traceability that is inherent with blockchain. Lastly, we also recognize that the awareness is a key to account safety, and therefore further increasing blog posts and content around account safety awareness is crucial. Blockchain technology has gained massive popularity through cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or Ethereum. And you might ask yourself, well, how can we help this? How can we use this to help secure in-game assets? We've identified a use case now, known as the Engine coin. Engine is a marketplace where gamers can sell in-game assets for virtual currency to buy other in-game assets. The benefits of this are that it's a game overarching marketplace. Gamers can sell their assets obtained in one game for currency and use that currency to buy assets for a different game. Inherent with blockchain are obviously increases in transparency over ownership and full traceability of transaction. This could in the future prevent in-game asset theft by providing full traceability of every asset and ownership. In turn, this offers more secure transactions between players. And here, this is where we see the potential for EA to use the blockchain technology as well. Ultimately, we would like EA to employ a catalog-wide marketplace with an EA currency so that players can engage, so that players can sell and buy in-game assets over games. This offers high security due to the ownership of ownership ledgers that are inherent with blockchain. However, we do realize that preventive measures are unfortunately not bulletproof, and to mitigate harm and cheating that does occur, we would like to urge you to use machine learning. When it comes to harm mitigation, we would like to help you identify clusters of hate based on in-game messages and continuously train AI and algorithm to become better at this so you can take action faster. Another way to take action faster is using community-enabled blocking, where a player, once they pass a threshold of a certain number of bans received from other players, gets flagged for manual review or even outright banned immediately. When it comes to cheating and machine learning, we think that machine learning offers you the opportunity to log players' individual play behaviors, as well as aggregate skill level profiles. And through machine learning, you can continuously compare a player to both their own as well as average skill profiles to detect sudden deviations, which would indicate forms of cheating. With that, I'll give it off to Jonas, who will take care of the second pillar of our EA strategy.
Thank you, Jacob. Having now covered the technical component of our strategy, we seek to complement this with a social component through educating on addiction. First of all, let us look at a current debate that is pressuring the industry. On the one hand, we have those that propose that gaming diseases are actually on the rise. Gaming addiction is now recognized as a modern disease, and especially children and teenagers are subject to this disease. This is also amplified through the current COVID-19 pandemic. On the other hand, we have studies that actually say that through playing more games, you have also greater well-being, and that it can help people coping with social anxiety disorder. There are also numerous startups in the market that leverage the power of gamification to create mental health benefits. We believe that in this debate, there's not one right answer. So we propose that you launch the EA Center for Healthy Play. The EA Center for Healthy Play is an institution that is based on both pillars, providing support for those that are addicted or that are having problems with gaming, but also providing solutions through gaming. The Center for Healthy Play will be a pilot project that is first situated in Vancouver, and the team consists of 3 employees. Their task will mainly be to develop an integrated education material and database, but also to organize support group meetings for those that are addicted and schedule talks and webinars with gamers that acknowledge how they are coping with mental health problems through gaming. We believe that here the answer lies in collaboration and not in individual action. On the one hand, we know that EA has a tremendous community, and we want them to further expand this to schools and universities and also industry professionals. With this, we have 3 pillars: education, prevention, and research. Because not enough is currently known about the topic of mental health in the gaming industry, we also check the possibility of engaging with potential strategic partners, such as Eurogamer, who are featuring a web series about mental health issues, or MindBeacon, which is a startup that focuses on mental health in the digital sphere. I will now give it on to Felix, who will talk about our marketing strategy.
Coming to the last part of the EA strategy, embracing all. According to Forbes magazine, 77% of consumers view brands more favorably if they seek out and apply consumer feedback. According to that, we found a user case with the company Lego. Lego builds creative construction toys and created a portal on which consumers are able to submit product ideas. With this solution, they created a win-win scenario and were able to leverage on their passionate fan base. According to Lego's CEO, innovation will come from a dialogue with the community, and we think this is also applying to your gaming industry. So therefore, we would advise you to launch the Embracing All Diversity platform for a safe, fair, and united gaming experience at EA. Some features of the platform will be, for example, suggestions, so that gamers can make suggestions for a more diverse game design on the platform. Other gamers can then interact with each other by upvoting the ideas. If the upvotes reach a certain threshold level, EA will then implement the ideas into the game design. Also, contents are possible there to further engage with the consumers. The EA diversity platform should be linked with Origin to further increase the usage of that. Now, we also took a look at your current program, the Game Changers program, where you already established influencer relationships. We think it's a really good program. However, we think it could also be enhanced by, for example, training the current members more about diversity and inclusion, and not only about content creation. And as well, enlarging the member base with more diverse gamer personalities who then act as a role model overall. Furthermore, you should engage with the Game Changers community not only to build better games, but also to build more diverse and inclusive games. And we thought of a potential candidate for this as J.N. Lopez, who is the founder of the Black Girl gaming community. Next to that, we would advise you to launch a global marketing campaign, which really stresses out that gaming at EA is safe, fair, and united. The purpose of this campaign is to help players understand their role in cultivating healthy communities. How should the campaign look like? So you should focus on engaging and interactively promoting your community, and by therefore deploying and using emotional stories where you really show use cases of different users. You should market that through your ambassador channels, paid advertising, and your own channels. Now, we will come to the implementation because we need to find the right solution. For the first pillar of the EA strategy, employing AI, we think that you can develop and deploy the machine learning platform and the anti-cheat software within 4 to 6 months, as you have an experienced team of data analytic people and software developer. After that, the model needs to be refined and needs to learn, and needs also to have human input and human interaction to then be finalized and roll out at the end of 22. Next to that, for the Center of Healthy Play, you need to establish a team, a website, a database, and set up an office, so that this can also be fully operational in mid of 22 to then organize events and also establish strategic partnerships. And finally, for the Embracing All strategy, first you need to design and build the platform, then promote it, and then also leverage the ideas from your users. And then finally, develop the marketing campaign, which we think you can already start by the end of this year. Now, Jacob will continue with spotting and mitigating risk.
Thank you very much. Obviously, new ideas always come with inherent risks too, and that's why we have identified 3 core risks that we see with our strategy. The first one being that the integration of our planned approaches into the current system poses inherent challenges. Because software development is a core capability of EA, we believe that this risk can effectively be mitigated just by applying that core capability. The next inherent risk is that the community is not valuing our initiatives. However, through frequent interaction with the community and by leveraging feedback loops, we think that the initiatives can be adjusted to fit community needs and wants, and therefore this risk can be mitigated as well. Lastly, the third risk is that ambassadors can hurt the brand more than they are helping. However, through effective training and creating a diverse community, this risk can be mitigated as well. I'll now give it over to Nina, who will take care of the finances.
Thank you, Jacob. Now, actually looking at project cost. Again, dividing the total project costs that we incur into 3 pillars: employing AI, educating on addiction, and embracing all. We see that, of course, we incur significant investments, which can be attributed to certain key cost drivers. For example, personal costs for the software developers, educators, and staff, but also ambassador contracts and advertising fees. In total, for the pilot projects of our technological tools, as well as the pilot project of the Center of Health Play and our marketing campaign, we're looking at total costs of 9.08 million, which is significantly less than 1% of your yearly R&D expenses. We also urge you to continuously evaluate the impact of these initiatives to be able to indicate whether you want to scale them up or down and measure their success. You might ask, how essentially is success measured and how should it be measured? Well, we've come up with certain KPIs that help you track your progress. Certainly, there are more than these 4, but these illustrate our purpose and also the goals of our initiatives. Firstly, looking at social media engagement. We really think that you can harness the power of social media and create really nice advertisements that are interactive and engage the community. Currently, you have a broad following. However, for example, when you look at likes to follower ratio, there is room for improvement, which our initiatives provide. Also, looking at the number of strategic partnerships. Essentially here, obviously, it's not the more the better, but looking to engage in strategic partnerships also beyond the gaming community is incredibly valuable. On the right side, we see 2 KPIs that are related to the technological tools we seek to employ. For example, ticket volume and backlog, and the fast response time. Essentially, AI should be able to help EA employees to reduce overall the ticket volume because users are flagged and banned automatically, and also lead to faster response times, which I'm sure the customers will very much approve of. Now, summing up. Our strategy is designed to combine technology and data with actual human communities to create a gaming experience that is positive, that is safe, balanced, and fair. To remind you, we employ a triple EA strategy, looking at online harms, unhealthy play, and cheating. Our 3 strategies are employing AI, educating on addiction, and embracing all. And we believe that in each of these initiatives, there really lies the power to have a sustained impact on the EA as a whole organization, but essentially the most value for the EA Positive Play Charter. Now, very, very happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you for your presentation. The presentation time is now complete. Please wait a moment while I prepare the timer for our questions and answers period. All right, judges, you have 10 minutes to ask questions. You may now begin.
Yeah, I'll start. Thanks for the presentation. Really well organized. I really appreciate and like that you brought humans into it and didn't focus exclusively on technology. I think it's an important lens that we're looking at, and so great to see that. I also like that you address the tension between well-being and mental health. Right? In some studies, gaming is good, in others, gaming is bad. And so that collaboration with research institutions is something we're also looking at to really start to inform our developers as they design games based on evidence-based approaches. I also like that you weren't shy to bring up like basics that exist in sort of like web ecosystems, like two-factor authentication, that we have not adopted in gaming as fast. So I think it's good that you focused on that. And then the metrics, thinking about our back-end operations, right? Like all of these also have a human cost on the back end. So thinking about ticket volume, backlog, time to response, these are really important factors that we're thinking about. But most of all, the predictive analytics at a user level. That is 100% how because we can do predictive analytics at a language level, but then you run into problems when you deal with a global marketplace. And then, text versus behavior in game, those are different elements. So when you focus at a risk score at a user level, you start to figure out what potential pathways you have at a user by user, group users together, and then again, match them together. And then I also love that you recognize the age diversity that's happening in games. So what games are today will not be what games are in 10 years and will not be what games are in 20 years. So that's really important. I think the one big question I have is a lot of I'll just say it frankly, why didn't you guys go into the game design itself? So, we have Apex Legends, we introduced the ping system, which is a way of communicating in the game without need for text, without need for voice. Any reason why you chose to react to the problem occurring versus seek to literally change the engagement infrastructure within a game?
So, well, first of, oops. Go ahead, Jonas.
I think I can take that. So that's an excellent question. It is true that we didn't really look at the in-game design because we were laying our focus more on how we can really create this whole strategy on creating these positive experiences. And because we already looked at so many technologies, we didn't want to go further into the gaming part itself, but rather focus on this whole broad picture of linking the technology with also the social aspect that you also mentioned. So we didn't really consider this in our solution, but rather looked at this whole coherent picture.
Totally.
If this answers.
Yeah, totally fair. Thanks.
Can I ask one? I'm wondering a little bit more detail on out of that first pillar, when you're detecting behavior that's starting to trip alarms and alerts and escalating a scale, the actions that you'd recommend that happen at that point. Is it player banning? Is it temporary player banning? Is it something more subtle? Can you just talk a little bit about what your thoughts are in there?
That is a very good question, and if I may answer this. So, when it comes to cheating, obviously, there should be a scale as to how to punish players. Whether they commit very small offenses, it could be warnings or short account suspensions. But when it becomes more frequent, and we do see that cheating especially is a very frequent behavior, I think 76% of cheaters would cheat again, or rather stop playing the game instead of stop cheating. So when it comes to these type of people, we do have to kind of look at the more harsher ways of dealing with them, which can be permanent account bans, permanent IP bans, or at the top of it, even hardware ID bans, where you just completely limit their hardware to not be able to access the game. So it is really a spectrum of kind of judgment calls as to severity, repetition of offense, and all those kind of things. And based on that, you would kind of, make a judgment call as to what's the most fit for the situation.
Got it. Thank you.
So I have a question about your education piece. So how do you encourage people who are the ones with the problems to attend these events without, and how do you do it broadly without actually raising concerns in the community of, oh, is this going to be bad for my kids, or is this bad for me, and maybe I shouldn't decide to game? Like, how do you do it carefully so that you don't ruin the reputation of gaming, and how do you not lose the appeal of the games that you're trying to sell?
That's a very excellent question. So because there were multiple questions in there, maybe let's go to the potential strategic partner slide first. So in order to actually not sacrifice this feeling that gaming is good, but rather and not create the feeling that gaming is something bad and creates these mental health problems, we actually seek to put these strategic partnerships in place, of which gamers are also already placed. For example, there's this video series of Low Batteries, which is done by Johnny Giordino, who is the head of video at Gamer Network, and he's really looking at broadening this talk about mental health problems and how he's also addressing it through the games. And then on the other hand, we also have Safe in Our World, which is a charity, and they are really looking to break this taboo topic of mental health because it is not really talked about. And I think we shouldn't create the false expectations there as well, because probably people who are addicted, it is true, they will be hard to get there, but there you also need to then address maybe relatives or maybe parents and provide them with education material. And you already have this through, for example, this FIFA Playtime feature that is already incorporated in the EA game. And we believe that if this is circumvented frequently, then parents can be given a ping, for example, and they can then seek help on the EA website. Does this answer your question?
So if I'm playing the game too much, I don't want to go and watch Mind Beacon or Save Our World or Low Batteries. I want to play more. And so how do you sort of deliver these interventions to the problem people? Or is it, and how do you tell the parents to do it, to, let's say, intervene without actually scaring off other parents who want to buy their games as Christmas presents for their kids? Like that's, how do you, what was your solution for that? And it's a challenging problem, so don't get me wrong, like if you don't have an answer, that's acceptable too. But I'm curious if there was any strategies that you came to mind other than these pre-established programs that already exist. It's a tough one. It's if you don't have an answer, we can move on to the next question. It's not a problem.
I think the solution we were really looking at is engaging the parents there more than, because the solution isn't probably not taking away the console from the kids, because that won't help them, exactly as you said it, but then rather address parents themselves. But we believe the older the kids get and they turning into young adults or adults themselves, then maybe they also on this mode of work, they can self-evaluate a little bit better.
If I may add on this, what is also part of the strategy of the education center is that also really awareness is spread about this, so that we go into schools and have also collaborations with schools to talk in schools. So it's not a taboo topic in schools anymore. And the important thing we think is that kids develop the feeling for that themselves, not by like the parents forcing them to not play anymore, but the kids feel themselves that at some point this is enough and they should limit themselves at this level. And we think the only way to really do that in a sustainable way is through education and spreading awareness, especially in the kids. And then this can be done on the school level already.
I won't monopolize the time, but outstanding answers to very hard questions.
Maybe we have time for hopefully slightly easier question, hard questions for your group. I'm looking at your KPIs, and I think they do make sense as KPIs for the organization as a whole. How do you think they will specifically map the progress of this particular initiative?
So if I understood the question correctly, it's the KPIs for educating on addiction?
Or any of the three areas that you're focused on. So I think the KPIs make sense for the organization. I want to understand how you're tying them specifically to these recommendations.
So maybe just to go back to the slide to have the visualization there. So for example, for the first strategy that we have, essentially that's the right side of it, to see that how can AI actually make the life of EA employees easier, for example, with the ticket volume and the backlog.
The questions and answers time is now complete. Thank you for your questions and answers. All right, thank you to our competitors for your presentation and to our judges for your insight and expertise. Competitors and coaches, at this time, you may now leave.